Hello, welcome to Reframing Mindset Podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, so welcome back to Reframing Mindset Podcast. My name is Clarence Smith Brooks. And basically this episode, it's a very funny. It's going to be a very funny, I think, episode because this title just came to me out of random, and I just wrote it down. Then after something just start coming to my head, we have to be like, damn, bro, what if it actually does happen? you know, because in hindsight, looking back, where we are at now, yeah, it could have happened, you know. So basically, this title is now basically, what if my dreams came true? Then I basically just died, you know. yeah, because the reason why I said it, it's something I can kind of experience it because reaching this far, so basically, in school, you always, there, there's always a minor danger, but you always have my, while I have my family, I always have the security to know it's okay, I'm fine, even though even if it's a risky thing. But what happened was when I left university now in the real world now, something changed drastically. I was an adult, you know. I going through university. So when I actually started university is when I actually started doing my adult stuff. I was on my own. I had to cook for myself and everything. And over time there, I built up my reputation, and such like that. But when I but that was in the university. But in the real world now, that reputation was gone. And I was just back to zero again and have to build it up now, build it up over. But this time it was so different because, in the university still I had my, family supporting me, sending me money and such like that. But in the real world now, I had to find a way to actually um get income for myself and all those stuff. And then uh, uh, wait, and if you know, you know that, at the start of my real world journey, I started off with a crutch, started off with a crutch. So basically I had to dig myself out of that crutch to actually get somewhere. But what happened was when I started to gain some sort of momentum, like gain ideas, the pandemic started. The pandemic started, bro. And that's when basically every decision now was basically life or death because everybody is worrying about the pandemic and such like that. And it was, when it just started, it was this big scare. and it's like, so back then I was trying to get my license. And bro, if you listen to some of the previous, if you listen to the comeback episode, that would be the trailer episode. If you're on Spotify, you'll see that comeback episode as a trailer. And if you're not listening to it on Spotify, that would be the first episode um in way back. So it would be the first. It wasn't the first episode that is released, but it's the first episode that you'll see because I actually deleted the first episode and then re-upload it back. But in that episode, I hear me talking about how, bro, it's taking me the whole year to actually get the license, because I had to be basically um practicing, then quarantining, practicing quarantine, and then what happened is every time I kind of break the quarantine, if I not really break, but basically if I leave the house and actually go do something for myself, I had to actually quarantine for 2 weeks because what happened was the other person was sick, had a sickness, and and because they don't want me to risk getting caught, So basically, what happened was during from then until now, all my decisions were basically life and death. And what over time, I became so in the beginning, it was very stressful. In not really stressful in that, but it felt risky, because be- because getting the driver's license. One of the thing is, you know, the thing about it is that I never need looking back actually need it, for my goals. But prior to then, I never thought I needed it. I was taking taxi, but boom, what happened was in the real world now where I'm trying to become a man, learn earn income for myself and build my life. I actually need a license because I need to be mobile on my own. I can't just keep relying on taxis when some places taxis are unreliable and such like that. So actually do it on my own. And what also happened was dealing, in the school setting now, I would deal with my classmates and such like that. But in the real world setting now, I'm dealing with these professionals. They're not professional though. Everybody in the world we are dealing with. Every single person, you know. So you have me that's coming out of university with all this university knowledge. And I had to basically just drop all of that knowledge to basically learn the learn the streets, learn the streets, like learn how to actually deal with people and such like that. So that was a change. But what happened is basically why this episode is kind of relevant is that, and I've reached this far, and when I reach this far, if you listen to the previous episode, you will realize that my science vision that I have is kind of unfolding it to me, unfolding now. But but the time I'm not. But one of the things that I realize is that, if you remember, most of the godfather of science are dead. Are dead in that it's been a long. It's way back when they actually do their thing, and they're dead now. So it's one of those things I have to think about is that basically, am I just a martyr for the future generation where basically I'm doing my thing to just basically push forward the science, and then I won't reap the benefits. I won't reap the benefits. But the future generation will look back and say, Colin Smith. That it was thanks to Colin Smith that we have this futuristic science stuff that we have now, thanks to him. And I'll be in all these textbooks and such like that. But in reality, I'll just be big chill in the grave. Big chill in the grave, collecting the awards, collecting the awards. You know. Yeah, so, it's one of those things I have to really come to and think about. Like, bro, I really want those dreams to come true, actually experience it. But it's it's one of those on this journey I've realized I have to be patient, and I have to accept the fact that I have to really keep myself healthy and such like that to really see all these things come to fruition, because as I said, the pandemic that's scary, coronavirus, then you have this new virus out now, monkeypox and such like that. So as I said, the world is really fighting against these dreams, fighting against these dreams. But if they actually come to fruition, bro, you'll be very solid for, I guess, me and and my future generation. If I we call it, have kids and what, the future generation can say, oh, the future me, offsprings of me will say, okay, yeah, I can live off my father's name, because he did his thing. He did his thing. I know his boss is in the history books. I know the science book and whatnot. Yeah, but yeah, you have to really think about it, bro. You have to really, it's one of those things, but you have to really think about it, bro, yourself, because yeah, there's two, like, no, to me, I don't think. I think maybe I would be salty. Maybe I would be angry. But part of me would be happy that the dreams came true. That the dream came true. So at least I would if the dream came true, I'd at least see one day I've seen the dream come to fruition. You know, and that's basically what the main thing is. I want to actually because I see the vision that I have. But many people won't see the vision. So if I actually drop out and die, no one thing. Some people may take out the vision and say, "Oh, I'm doing it for Colin. Huh? I'm doing it for Colin." And when they make the vision is nothing like I really envision it. And they said, "Okay, yes, if Colin was here now, he would be happy to see this. When in reality, I would hate, I would hate, I would have hate to see that. I would hate to see that. So it's one of those things where I actually I have to actually go out and try to see this vision through. Try to see the vision through because I think it's one of those things that will help me self actualize as a person. If you're yeah, where if I think if all those dreams manifested, I think there will be more things that will come to me. But I think if those dreams manifested, I'll be like, yeah. Because some of my dreams are already manifested, with me being a graduate, university and graduate, such like that. I think in reality, the next dream that could be manifested would be, I guess, me doing my masters, because if this podcast actually breaks out, I would basically have enough money to actually can afford to do my masters, without being in a student loan such situation and such like that. So I guess, but yeah, so that would be the next step. But other from that, and me, well, I have some other things and other dreams that I would like to achieve as well that I would like to work on. But I guess it's one, but this episode is a nice one for you to reminisce on because it's not for you to say, okay, don't chase your dreams, but this podcast is just to show that, to reach this far, the world is going against you, and there's a lot of risky things in the world. Like the simplest of thing can kill people. Like I think a bee sting, I think is a bee that killed like Jet Li, or Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, or whatever his name is. Like the simplest as things can kill you, and it's at the start of my journey, I was really paranoid. I was really paranoid in that I basically had no direction at all, and I had no clue what. And it took me to kind of really, take my time to actually talk with my family, actually learn from them and see how they got to where they're at, so they can so that I could understand where to get my start from. And it was through them that actually got the various ideas that I had to actually start my life, like from my family. It was through my cousin actually made me start to understand, okay, I need to get a license for myself. So that's where I started from. And then when I got the license, I was stuck because I never really had much money, and 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 so sure, I had to basically learn how to really fend for myself, cook and such like that down there. I was down there when I actually see how vast the land is, where I'm from, and how many good opportunities there, and you know, I did all kind of stuff, and I see so many business opportunities and such that gave me this drive that you hear in this podcast now. Let's be like, yo, there's so many opportunities out there, you know. And it was over time now, because as I said, I actually dropped the university knowledge, actually gain the street knowledge and such like that. But over time now, I kind of reincorporated back my science knowledge, and then that seeing the opportunity, and then now my science vision just coming together, I can see this new science vision that I want, that be like, yo, if that were to come true and manifest, I'll be the GOAT, bro. I'll be the greatest of all time. I'll be like, yo. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, bro. I can't lie. Like, talking about this get me excited again, but I have to. the episode has to finish, The episode has to finish. So thank you for listening. It's a good thing to reminisce. And I guess you can actually, if you reach this far, you can reach out to me on Reframing P on at on Twitter or Reframe Mindset Podcast on Instagram and tell me how would you feel if your dream actually came true, but then you basically died afterwards? That would be would you feel salty or be like, okay, at least my dreams came true and actually see it happen. Okay, I guess I'll take I'll take the bed now, the debt now. It's all right. Thank you for listening, and look forward for our next episode. Yeah, man.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
Bro, it's what end of July update, and you know what? Summertime, man. Summertime. I guess I guess it's been summertime from in July, but I guess this episode makes it official, because we're going into the month of August. Summertime. So like school kids not in school. Enjoying the thing. I guess that is I guess what do I usually do during the summertime? But before this podcast, you know, I usually just be at home watching TV. Watching TV. Usually with summertime, I basically can watch Disney Channel and Cartoon Network all day, every day. And basically when I was in high school.